evening, everybody. Welcome to Not Another Rangers podcast. It's a little bit delayed. I think it's Tuesday night. This festive period, it's always hard to know what day of the week it is. So I think it's Tuesday night. Scott, nod your head if it is Tuesday night.
It's Tuesday, aye. I know.
Good.
You get lost with dates at this time of year, don't you? Dates, times, everything. It's just...
We are totally out of sync, and we'll be out of sync probably for the next week or two as the festive period is amongst us from game to game. So we missed a couple of episodes. Ricky will maybe join us at some point tonight, and last night Scott was unwell, so that's why we put it back tonight. And for myself, obviously, I've not been on the last couple of episodes and I think that's why I'll just pay a little tribute. My young brother passed away like 10 days ago, so he was a Rangers fan as well. Bit of a shock, a sudden loss for us all. So I think probably not that keen, not that excited to be talking about football at this moment in time. There's bigger things in the world, obviously, that are going on for us. But I was thinking when we talked to Scott, we come back on doing this, that there's a number of people come in the comments. One of the things that always strikes me in the comments is that people say how much listening to the podcast and it helps them during their days. So for those that do get a lot of it, it makes sense to at least come back on, talk Rangers, talk about how bad we are, and maybe forget about some of the other problems you've got for the current hour. So we're back tonight. It's not going to be good, positive cut chat because Rangers are still push, but it's hopefully going to be still something to at least talk about over the next period from there as we gear up to what is going to be a busy couple of weeks, Scott. With lots of games, half a dozen games probably the next 3 weeks or so that might bring us to either mid-table or back in the title race again.
Listen, Gary, I'm still taking a game as it comes. With these squad of players and stuff, I'm not any further than Motherwell. I don't think we can, to be fair. And obviously, I forgot about the most important thing for Saturday. We're meeting Ricky first time, face to face.
Yeah. So we are. So Ricky is over in Scotland currently. Don't know where he is. I think is he actually in Arbroath where he's from? I don't know if that's where he is.
I think he was in Dundee, didn't he?
After all horrible places, Dundee or Arbroath for them. He was.
I don't know where he is. He was in Edinburgh the other day, and then he's in Dundee, and then he's in. I don't know where he is.
I don't even know where Arbroath is. To us, I've never been in my life in my whole 50 years. I've never been to Arbroath, so I'm sure it's.
No, I've been to Arbroath Stadium quite a few times. I have to say so. Aye.
Is it no freezing and windy every time you go, no matter what? Whether it's middle of summer or not?
It's all right, and it's fine up there, and it's one of these places you go. I mean, my 20 years a kid as well. Some reason I think I remember going to a caravan park up that neck of woods, but I was very, very young at the time, so it's a place I frequented a few times. Aye.
And I just want to dispel any rumour here. Great Wall, Ricky of a lady of the night in his hotel room. Ricky's here with his family and his kids, so please don't make up any rumours. He's currently out for a family meal, and if he's tuning into this now, his wife will be raging beside him. So he's over visiting family for the next week or two.
We're getting slapped back to Cyprus.
So as you say, Ricky's over in Scotland. He'll be at the game against Motherwell on Sunday, which may be a 3 o'clock kickoff. Is it? Is it a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday? Sorry.
Saturday, aye. I think it is. I think it's just normal time. Aye, I'd imagine so. I'm not seeing any changes.
So he'll be over for that. We'll catch up before the game. We'll actually get to see what he's like in a real person on the screen. See if he does that stutter. And
maybe taller than me. I don't know if he'll be taller than you, but he'll probably be taller than me. Majority of people are taller than me.
If he's taller than me, I'm just going up the road. I don't like seeing people taller than me. When you're 6'5" and you meet somebody taller than you, it freaks you out. It's a horrible feeling.
We'll probably see it. We'll probably hear him before we see him.
I know. So anyway, he may join us at some point tonight. As I say, he's out for a family meal just now while he's catching up with relatives back in Scotland. So we'll go back to talking about Rangers. So do you know what? It was only 48 hours ago since we played against Hearts. It seems like ages ago already. I think because I've been Christmas shopping and obviously lots of other personal stuff ongoing. It feels like such a long time ago since we lost 2-1 to Hearts. So we'll dissect that. We'll talk a little bit about it. We'll talk about how they managed to do VAR lines, which is always a good discussion. And we'll also talk about, I suppose, some of the criticism Danny Rohl's been getting before we focus a little bit on some of the rumours in terms of players and in terms of some of the preview of the Motherwell game coming up. So I think that's a plan for the next 45 minutes to an hour or so. And we'll anything else we miss, please get it in the comments if there's anything else there that you want to cover as the night goes on. So let's go back to the game, Scott. Do you know, it's got heavy criticism, I think, because of the defeat. If you look at the game in cold hard stats and cold hard possession, shots at goal, all that stuff that goes with it, expected goals, all that stuff that you read metrics by, it probably wasn't a bad performance, but at the end of the day, you lost 2-1.
Listen, I think we get a better XG, didn't we, for some reason? I seen somebody saying that. I don't know if it's true.
Aye, what's in that day?
I seen somebody on our pod saying it, so I don't know if it was true. But listen, I didn't. It was good in bits and balls, but overall, not good enough. And we didn't really make Hearts work for their goals, to be fair. And that's my biggest issue. We don't make teams work hard enough to score against us. I know we've got injuries. I know we've got issues with some of the players, but still, as a professional football team, you want to make other teams work hard to score against you. We don't do that, Gary. We don't. We just everything's quite easy against us. Do you know that way? And then we give ourselves a mountain to climb and we can't do it. So we really have to score first to give ourselves a chance, and it's just not good enough. But I want to put hanging in for Rohl deserving criticism. I've seen a lot of people criticise him. I'm still not going to criticise him, to be honest with you. I can get why people do, and that's their own opinion. But to me, I'm not going to criticise him until he gets some of his own players in. And then if it doesn't change, then I'll give it. At this moment in time, these players are hopeless, man. And I don't think anybody imagine get much out of them, to be fair. I think some of them don't listen. I think some of them can't listen. And I just basically think in the day, some of them aren't good enough. The majority aren't good enough.
No, I wouldn't. Well, the majority certainly haven't shown that they're good enough at any point this season. Do you know, if you think about how many players, I suppose, Scott, how many players could you give pass marks? Right, if I was to give you a ranking at a rating out of 6 out of 10 for any players, how many would fit into that category, or would anybody above that?
You're talking about a game there, or just overall?
I'm talking about the season so far. I was thinking about it earlier on. How many players have actually done better than average?
Probably only maybe talking Connor Barron, to be fair. But if Connor Barron's your best midfield player, that's no disrespect to Connor Barron, but we need better than that. But it shows you what the other two midfielders are all about, and then you don't really know. I don't really know, to be honest with you. It's not, looking back at now, and it's not a lot, to be honest with you. Miovski's done okay fits and starts, but he need more. But Mahoma does what he does, but we still need another left back in here because I don't think he'll stay anyway. And then the rest of them are just offering so little, Gary. Because you've seen with some players they can offer more, but it's over fleeting spell. There's never been any consistency for asking for deal for players like this. They offer a wee bit and then they'll come out with the same nonsense. We'll learn for this. Yeah. I'm fed up playing the same post-match. Doesn't matter who's saying it. It's the same cliche. And I'm fed up with it, to be honest with you. And if it's a case of rebuild, we do it, because I think if somebody else in Rohl's position out, the same players will throw that manager under the bus and just say, listen, we do what we want to do. We hide, we don't hide. We'll say we'll look at it, we'll look at ourselves in the mirror. A lot of nonsense. We need players with different mentality, different attitude, and just a different level of kind of respect for themselves and the respect for us as a club.
Yeah. I'm going to pick up a question just because Ross has put a question in there. Would you have played to have a centre back known Shankly would peel in onto him and one up front? Diamandi still starting games? I suppose there's a few questions. Ross has got another couple of points, I suppose, about the tactical shape, playing 3 at the back and stuff. Basically about whether Rohl picked the wrong formation, wrong style, wrong players maybe to play it.
I can get that, Gary. I mean, and Ross has got good points. Don't be honest, he's not the only person that's been saying this. I mean, people are saying it straight after the game. People are saying it during the game, but he's not got a lot to pick from. And I'm not saying it's a big excuse for him, but he's not. I mean, you look at the players that's missing. He's been more dramatic because he's trying to make mistakes and doesn't want to go with a 4 because he knows I like to give a goal away. I don't think Tav would have played if somebody else had been fit. If Giga was still here, I don't think Tav would have played. Honestly, I don't. But he's away as well. So who else do you want to put in there? Honestly, because I wouldn't have played Tav at all at this moment in time. I think his legs are away and I think he's done. But who else do you want to put in there? Diamandi and Raskin as well sitting next to me on the couch on Sunday because it offered not a lot. And one up front, I'm not a biggest fan of Schmidt. I prefer Miovski because I think he can score goals or Schmidt can't. But Miovski can't put it for himself either. You have to go with Schmidt.
So see on that, I see a comment from Great Wall, and I banged on about this a lot. Actually, I'm not about. I really don't dislike the 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 or whatever formation it is you want to call it. I get the point that people say that we play 5 at the back because we don't have enough good defenders. Now, given the fact that your defenders are arguably still better than every other team you're playing against, that's should be a bit of a moot point. But the defensive style of play potentially at least is not creating much in the way of chances, which at least is not that are getting undone by losing the odd goal. So again, it takes you back to that criticism of Rohl. As some of the criticism around the style of play, it's actually not working in some cases.
It doesn't, but there's a lot of games it's done okay. And I think the problem is it's the two fullbacks. We've not got any fullbacks who like to get forward. And that's the way he wants to play it. And if you're playing a 5 or a 3, he likes to have 2 attacking fullbacks. We don't have attacking fullbacks. I say Mahoma does what he does, and he does okay, to be fair, but he's still there, and he's still young, and I think he needs some other game time elsewhere. Aaron's just pish. Sorry, but he's pish. I don't see nothing in that lad at all for playing in the Premiership, for playing in La Liga. I don't know if he'll go after Rangers, because if you watch him at this moment in time, you don't take him to your team.
I think, as you said, if you're playing a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, you've got to have 2 marauding, attacking, progressive fullbacks, wing-backs, whatever you want to call them. Max Aaron's one trick is to get the ball on the touchline, turn around and pass it back to somebody as soon as somebody comes near him. Doesn't go forward to him. Magoma, I've said to you many times, I think he's just kind of he's there. Doesn't do an awful lot in a game. He doesn't really get heavily involved. He's pretty defensively weak. But even then, going forward, he doesn't really drive with the ball either. So you're effectively missing a whole attacking output down the sides when you've not get him to play in the wings. And that's, I suppose, my biggest criticism of Danny Rohl would be, if that's the case, and you know that's the players you're playing there, why play a formation that's always going to struggle to create anything?
I've not got a clue, Gary. Either he's not got enough options, or he doesn't trust anybody else here. I know Barami been injured, didn't help him at times. I know other injuries, but to be honest with you, I do think he's banging his head against the wall at times, and we all sitting here criticising players he plays, but when you look at the squad of players, who else is there? Honestly, who else? This must be one of the poorest Rangers squads I've seen for a long time. Who else can you really play there? You can move a lot of people are shouting for NCL, but when he was in before, he was getting bullied with some players at the time, and Barry Ferguson dropped him because he wasn't good enough, and everybody shouting him for him to come back. And who do you actually play in there? I mean, if you've got better answers than me, then fair enough, call it. And Danny Rohl's probably saying the same. He's probably trying different formations. He's probably trying different things to see. And he's not getting enough from the players. And at this moment in time, we're all sitting here, been sitting here since Russell Martin saying, this squad we've got is total shite, right? And we're bringing in a manager to work with these players. And he's been called lucky, he's been called different things, and now he's getting criticism. So is it the players that are shite? Is it a manager that's shite? Or is it both? But the players were still crap before he came in. So he brings somebody else in, the players are going to dramatically improve, because I don't think they've got that in them. Honestly, I don't think they're good enough. 1 or 2 might if they go elsewhere. But I think at this moment in time, as an overall squad of Rangers players, they're awful.
And I suppose I make the point. I'm not criticising Danny. Well, I'm criticising some of the things I don't like that he's been doing, but I'm not criticising him as a manager. I think he's the right manager. I think he'll do well as manager. And hold on, we think because my battery's about to go off. Scott, talk for a minute. My laptop's going to cut out. There we go. Right, I'm back. So I am not criticising Danny Rohl. I actually like him. I think he's going to be a good manager for Rangers. I suppose what I'm saying is, just think when you've got the players at the disposal that he's got, I'm not quite sure the formations he's picking is actually helping it. So, I've seen somebody talking about the fact that Miovski can't hold the ball up, so why play him up front himself? Chermiti, and you've got Chermiti, who probably is reasonably good at holding the ball up and winning the ball in there, so why not play Miovski off him, arguably, in that sense, right? So using different players in that sense. I think that my criticism of Danny Rohl isn't that I don't think he's going to be good. I do like him. I think he'll be a good manager. I just think that he's not actually maybe helping the tactics, and it's actually probably leading us back. I know, obviously, I get when we have the ball, it moves to a 4-4-2, doesn't it? Or moves to a 4, whatever it is. Yeah. And then you've got Aaron's pushing up further forward, which is pointless. So you're working with a man down. And at the same time, when you've not got the ball, you then drop in this 5-4-1 or 5-3-2. So I get it's trying to tinker with it and get the right formation or the right style, but it's still clearly not working properly. And that's me saying that against Hearts, there wasn't much in the game between either team.
No, I mean, Hearts do what they do. They defend, they'll put their body in front of the ball, they get it forward quickly, they try to create chances, and then when they get them, they took their 2 chances. Granted, the first one should have been better defended, and the second one should have been saved, but they took their 2 chances, and that's what they've been doing all season. And I'm not doing anything hard. They're doing what they offer what they've got, because that's what they can do. They play as a team unit, they play for each other. You've seen that in the second half at times. If one was beat, somebody else was there to block or defend or get it away. We don't do that, Gary. If somebody's beat, there's no really else covering them because they're too busy jogging or looking to see what they're up to. They're not really covering each other. They don't play as a team unit. Rangers, Hearts team do. And I know you can turn and see these players are professionals, and they're all better football players than we are. That's why we're sitting talking here and they aren't. But in Danny Rohl, you should be able to set out a formation 11 players to beat everybody else in the league. But sometimes that doesn't happen. And the reason is because the players as a team unit are not good enough. It doesn't matter if individually they're good. As a unit, they're not good enough. And I've seen better teams like this lose games, but like I say, that this team are something showing us just right. They're mentally and physically weak, and I think they are. I mean, I know he said today in the presser, he looked like they really looked like they were confident again in training. That's another cliche for me. It's fine saying that, confident in training, but in training they're playing against themselves, so they're going to beat other players because they're playing against the crap everybody else has been beating.
Yeah,
but it's in game for me. It's in game time, and on a wee run of the games, Gary, he didn't lose a game yet since he came to the door league-wise, not domestically, not away. And then they lost against Hearts. But going into these games, they should be confident enough to go out and beat other teams because on paper they should. But as we all know, paper and what actually happens doesn't work. But not really blow away any team this season at all. It doesn't matter if it's been Russell Martin or Danny Rohl. All Danny Rohl's managed to get out of him is better results. You can get them over the line. I know you can say it's a bit of luck, but he's offered more than Russell Martin has, put it at me.
No, I'd agree. I think that in I don't know, was it 9 games he's played in the league, Danny Rohl, we've not played well. And in fact, do you know the game I actually enjoyed watching was the Dundee United game we drew to each. That was the time I actually thought we played nice football, bizarrely, when we lost two bad goals. But the other games have all been pretty much a grind, haven't they? They've all been struggling to kind of work our way through them. Certainly, I think from the 5-3-2 looks more turgid maybe than the couple of other times we played slightly more attacking. But as you say, we don't really have the players that can create spark. I've seen Shona talk about Raskin there. Raskin is a shadow of the player, but you've also, if you pick the midfield unit as a whole, Conor Barron, surprisingly skillful, but then can't pass the ball. Nico Raskin's performances have been pretty poor. And Diamandi's a player who loves a pirouette, but just again, even Sunday, there was a fair chance he could get himself sent off as he was diving about, and his contribution to the game was starting to get annoyed with other people and sliding into people. So none of those three players are going to create chances. None of them are really going to have much in the way of assists. None of them are going to break the lines. And that, when you get that plus two fullbacks that don't attack, then the real skill, you're struggling to create anything.
Yeah, struggling to create anything. It doesn't matter how much they earn, how much you spent on them. You're going to struggle with that because you've got guys. That's probably 5 players there. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. If you've got 5 players down straight away, you're going to struggle. Mm-hmm. And Raskin and Diamandi both have been a big letdown this season. Dio should be doing a lot more. Raskin as well. But I think it wouldn't bother me if both of them left. I don't think they'll leave in January. It wouldn't bother me if both left in the summer for if I can get any decent fees for them, because I think they're not going to get any better what they're doing at this moment in time for me. They might up a game a wee bit more if others come in, but these are the guys who, when the going gets tough or when we're struggling in games, trying to grab it by the scruff of the neck. I don't mean winning the game by themselves, because that's not the type of players they are, but grabbing the rest of their teammates and saying, what's going on here? We should be doing better than this, but nobody does that. Nobody's organised in that. I mean, we've seen it when Tavernier's no captain, they get to Butland, they get to Raskin, but there's nobody out there actually just grabbing them all and saying, what are we actually playing at here? We're professional football players, we're not playing like it. There's something missing, and yeah, you look at a manager for all of that, and you maybe give him blame for that, but it doesn't matter what he said. Once they cross that white line, they do what the hell they want. And when you look at maybe play, some of them actually do what the hell they want, and it's not a lot, to be fair.
And I think we shouldn't build up Hearts to be some super team, because I don't think they are. I think they'll lose a lot of games as the season goes on. They've done well, they played well, they're a strong unit, and they're performing to a good level. But they are. I mean, there's a reason why they're playing Norwegian second division or all these other levels. They're not all of a sudden became prime right Lionel Messi and Ronaldo. They've bought good players. They're working well. There's a severe over-reliance when you look at Hearts on Shankland, Braga, and what's his name, Kizaridis. Other than that, it's a workman-like team, isn't it? You know, Cammy Devil in the middle of the park. They're not a free-flowing team themselves, but what they've done is they've managed to be organised. They managed to have a style of play. They managed to grind out results week in, week out, and get wins that even the game of Sunday, a win that they actually probably over the course of the game didn't necessarily merit a win, but it didn't merit a loss either. And there's been multiple games. There's been various games this season they played that's kind of been the same, and that's what kind of got them accumulating points. Whereas we're losing or drawing games that we should be winning or drawing.
Yeah, but the problem, the difference with Hearts is Hearts score goals, Gary. We don't. Do you know what I mean? I said that they don't concede a lot either, but they do score goals. And listen, Hearts are doing what they're doing. They've got a squad of players that didn't cost them much money. They've got guys who probably are playing above their level. They can play out week in, week out, but they've all had a consistency. And like I said earlier, they're all playing as a team, and they've all had it at the same time, and they back each other up. No matter if one goes out and one comes in, they're still playing the same way. Derek's got them fine tuned, and that's what he does as the manager. He gets them to a stage they believe in themselves and they believe they're going to win. Doesn't matter who they're playing against. Whereas at this moment in time, we don't believe we can beat anybody, and we don't think we're going to win. We just go out there and say, well, if it doesn't work out, we'll look at this performance again in training and we'll get back to you next week.
And I think that's the point I'm trying to make. You know, Sean is there playing as a team, we play as individuals. Now, I think there's no doubt. I'm assuming even the people in the comments wouldn't say player for player we are better players than them. Now, you might not, even our players not playing at their best are better footballers than Hearts team, but you can see on Sunday, Hearts had more spirit, more fight, more determination, more cohesion as a unit than we had now. And the challenge is that then that it's to do something. That's why Danny Rohl's gets some criticism, because the manager should be installing that team togetherness. But that's been our problem all season, is we've looked like a team of players on the park, or sorry, a group of players on the park, whereas you could see it in Sunday. Hearts weren't technically better, but they actually looked like a team and fought for every ball.
Yeah, they did, and I've said that earlier. When one get beat, somebody else was there. There was two going for stuff tackles, or one backing somebody else up, and they're hunting in packs. We don't. It's like if I lose this, somebody win it back for me, then I'll get it again. It doesn't work that way. You have to play as a unit, but I don't think there's any cohesion in the unit, because I still think Daniel is struggling to find a formation that works, because I don't think he can trust any of these players. But he's got nothing else here. I think you've kind of seen it. He's been trying to phase Tav out, hasn't he? In a way that he's only playing right back, Aidenson's been in and Aidens is out, and then he's not even playing centre back, because we've had two centre backs here. Granted, they make a lot of mistakes, both of them. Even though Fernandez looks like he's the one that can improve if he's got somebody better next to him. I still say he still makes mistakes, but I still think he seems to care more than others, to be fair to him. But then he plays Tav in the middle of the park. So I think he's trying to phase him out, but he knows he still has to use him because there's no any other bodies. I think if he had more players there, you would see more coming from him. Honestly, I do listen. I could be wrong. I could be sitting here in 12 one time saying Daniel's got to go. But at this moment in time, I just feel we can criticise him for subs, for formations and stuff, but until he's got a squad of players, the fans will think are half decent, and he thinks, right, I can get some out of these players. We can't really judge them, because it's no fair in judging them with somebody else's squad of players who, to be honest with you, the recruitment this summer, not just this summer, but especially this summer, has been awful. And I think no wonder other managers didn't want to have a look at that squad of players, because if that's in your CV, you know what to come to Rangers. How that squad of players isn't going to take you anywhere.
No, and I think that's probably why Stephen Gerrard was the miracle worker, as he said, which we'll come back to later on. See on the game then, right? So the first 20 minutes, I actually thought Rangers played really well. First 20 minutes, they were pretty dominant. They were in their faces. Raskin should have done better with a header. There was, I think, 3 crosses in a row we got first contact on, and obviously the one Fernandez headers, and Miovski taps in at the back post. Now, I don't know what your views on. I watched it at the time, and it came up. I was like, oh, he's onside. His foot, the guy's foot's. You can see his foot, basically. Then you see the VAR lines, and it looks like the VAR line's drawn over his foot. And you're thinking, this is a bit of a strange one, you know, and I think they're saying shoulder. You've obviously got to trust the technology, because it's technology apparently, and it's lines that are drawn by a computer or by somebody. But it looked, I suppose, fine. It's the fine margins in it, and I think, you know, if Rangers get that first goal, it's a totally different game, arguably, because at that point we were playing well. You're on mute, Scott.
Aye. We started okay. We started in the kind of front foot, and we were trying to get into Hearts. We were trying to take a game to Hearts, and that's in the goal. At first, I thought it's offside, and I looked back and I thought that's close, but I never did think he was onside.
That's the guy's foot back sticking away back at the back. He's back.
But I think these images are quite. You don't know what one's real, what one's not. You don't know if that's when it happened, when it doesn't happen. And listen, I'm not a big fan of VAR. I'll get rid of it tomorrow if I could. I think it's total nonsense. Doesn't matter what folks say. I just think it's a piece of piss. I'll go back to old school. Listen, I've side end the story. We can talk about it in the pub, but this is more confusing because the refs don't know what they're doing. The lines don't know what they're doing. They're looking for somebody drawing lines, and then people say, "I'm not drawing the lines properly. There's a squint in the line. There's this and that," and it does my box in. So genuinely, I thought he was just offside. But listen, what do I know?
Well, at the end of the day, the technology is meant to do it. The whole point of having VAR is to make sure there's factual decisions being made, isn't it? Or clear, obvious errors are rectified. So you either don't believe that it's been done properly and there's mistakes being made, or you have to take it, or if it's going to remain there, you just have to assume it's been done right in most cases, isn't it? You could go around circles otherwise. And I think we're on that basis it didn't look offside when I seen the replays, but you're also not able to see how somebody standing up, how it looks and where the body shape is and all that stuff that goes with it. So it was given offside, but at that point, we were pretty dominant. Say Raskin then probably should hit the target with a header shortly thereafter.
Raskin should have scored, Gary.
Aye, I'm sure could have been generous.
He has to score. I don't know why he doesn't. I don't know what he's doing because the keeper's behind him. It's a free header. He has to score that for me.
Does Mikey Moore have a shot? The keeper palms it as well, and there's a couple of other wee bits and pieces at that point in time. We are playing well. And look the dominant side, but you need to score. That's what all in a lot of games you need to score, and we don't have people really that can score goals.
Especially this team, Gary, because as soon as we concede, some hide because that's what they do, or some go back into their shell and thinking, right, I don't want the ball because I don't want to get it away again because I'll get criticised or I'll get shouted at, and we've not got guys here in the park that can say, right, we're only going to go down, let's get back into this. Nothing.
Yeah. The first goal, do you know, there's two goals I thought here. The one, if you're a Hearts fan, it's a really Hearts team. It's a really good goal. You know, it's well worked. If you're a Rangers persuasion as we are, it's bad defending, leaving it 2 against 1, and then obviously the cross comes in and Miovski lets them go. Barron and Fernandez are caught in the middle of them, and it's a really good header from Finlay. So there's a little bit of it. Sometimes there's little you can do about a goal. It's a good goal for the opposite. If we'd scored it, we'd be quite happy with it. But there's obviously mistakes in every goal at the same time.
The ball shouldn't have got there in the first place because obviously Butland's
kicked it as well.
Aye, and Tav' time is short because and then it goes out for a corner. Listen, I don't know who was Martin Finlay, but to me it has to be Fernandez. But I see he likes him to help down Fernandez, even though I've just kind of praised him a bit, saying there's something there, but knows a starting centre back at this moment in time. He doesn't know where to go, he's all over the place. Why not just stand still on the goal side of the guy so he doesn't get it? Barron's not going to win the header against him. And it was a good cross and a good header, but as a big guy, I mean, Big Fernandez is bigger than you, Gary. He's got to do enough to even put him under pressure, doesn't he? Yeah. He seems to be better heading the ball in opposition's box than does in his own box, doesn't he?
Aye, he's a lot better in the opposition's box. He seems to have much more desire to go for the ball.
And he's aggressive and he actually challenges you for it. In his own box, it's like, what do I do here? Do I go this way? Do I go that way?
So you've done coaching and all that sort of stuff, so you know much more about that than me. So see if you're, and I don't know if this is true, but if you're attacking a ball, you're obviously running towards it and jumping. Whereas if you're defending a ball, you're on your back foot and jumping backwards. Do you think you just maybe not particularly good at that side of the game? He's good at running and attacking.
When you're running, you've got momentum, haven't you, as well, and the defender's standing most of the time. But in the day, he has to get in his mindset, like, don't move about, stay with the defender. Make sure you know where he is, and if the ball comes over you, 9 out of 10 times with your height, and he's decent in there, he's going to win it. But he does even challenge, and don't get me wrong, it's a really good header for the boy, but you still have to put under pressure. Not one Rangers player does. Nobody does, and he scored that goal before. Similar, so a good cross and a good header, but Rangers have to do more defensively, Gary. We can't be letting teams whip balls in like that. No. You've got a couple of big guys in there, we're all standing watching.
No, and that's it. You know, as I say, from Hearts' perspective, it's a good goal. From our perspective, it's poor defending. But then we come on to the second goal, which is you can't even call that poor defending. It's abysmal defending. I think first, and it's only when you watch it back, obviously, you see that Fernandez leaves Shankland and runs for a ball that he's never going to get. Or if he doesn't get it, it then leaves the guy standing there. Hence the reason why he's able to get a clear shot in the box. Gets a clear shot in the box, really good strike from an angle that he should never score. Butland, for some reason, jumps, if he just stands where he is, saves it, but for some reason he tries to fall on it with his knees. I don't even know what he's trying to do. And the ball's in the back of the net, which just seems impossible for that angle. And we're 2-0 down within 4 minutes of the first goal being scored.
I think Fernandez chases that because there's nobody else coming back, and that's where you're playing your. I don't know. I mean, the two full backs are that far up the park, but they should have been back further. But he's chasing that to try and get it, but he doesn't have to. He could just follow he could just come inside, follow Shankland, doesn't he? But even still, Shankland shouldn't be scoring for you. I don't care who's in goals. He shouldn't be scoring for you. You could put somebody for the academy and he doesn't like that goal in. You put an under 16 keeper and he doesn't like that goal in. He actually dived out the way with his knee, didn't he? Did you see him diving back away like that?
Well, his feet's planted. The ball's hitting his feet if he stands where he's standing, but for some reason he then kind of falls over on his knee.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, Shankland had it fantastic. It was a clean strike and he hit it really, really well, but he still shouldn't be scoring for there. If he'd have scored a goal like that, I'd been like to myself, what's your keeper doing? But when it happens to you, you just don't know what to say apart from, fuck, how did that go in? Because it doesn't matter after that if Butland makes another 3 or 4 good saves. He's sold the jerseys again for me. And that's another reason where he's winning leadership. You know, many times he said a couple weeks ago, I don't know what goes on through my teammates' heads or something. What goes on through his head in moments like this? Because as a goalkeeper who's played at a national level, albeit no alone, but he's played in the higher levels of England, and then he's making mistakes like that. What's actually going through his head? He's not a young guy, he's in his 30s. He's experienced enough to know, you stand still, it can off your leg. Right. You cover that post, it's going nowhere. So why dive it away and down with your knees? But I've not got any explanation of that. If you'd have to ask Jack Butland or if anybody, the goalkeeper in the chat. I know Ross Clark was in the chat. I don't know if he's still in, Ross, but Ross has been a keeper.
Tells what
Ross knows all about goalkeeper. Ross is good on goalies. So, or even if Cameron was on the night, he plays goalkeeper now. But to me, I don't know why he done that. I just honestly don't. And yeah, you can look at other stuff in the day, defensive ways, but the keeper saves that for me. Doesn't matter what happens before that. The keeper saves that shot.
Yeah, and yes, Fernandez doesn't win the first header, and Tav doesn't win the second header. But for the angle Shankland's then hitting the shot from, there's no goal. There's no goal scoring chance until, I don't know. We talk about XG a lot of time and that stuff. I get that. I'm assuming the XG for that was extremely low because the angle he's hitting it shouldn't be a goal at any point in time.
As Smoke says, it's not so much. It's the moving out the way. Why did he move and then jump again? Go down with his knees. Why does he move?
See, Butland, when we talk, I mean, listen, now, is this his third season with us? So, and I think in each of the 3 seasons, he started really well and then starts to fall as the season goes on, doesn't he? I think, last season, by Christmas onwards, he was terrible. This season, mistakes are starting to creep in. And the first season, probably, I think, is about February, remember? They started to lose. It's a common occurrence. It starts the season really well, then seems to struggle.
Over the piece, he's a decent keeper. But for what we're paying him and for what he's offering is, we could probably get somebody paying less wages or just do the same kind of stuff in domestically for us. You don't need a fantastic goalkeeper in Scotland. You just need somebody who's competent. Do you know what I mean? Like the boy at St Johnstone that went to Aberdeen.
The boy Simon, whatever his name is, can't remember the boy.
Samuel George, Simon, he was out the game for a while and then Simon signed up. Just somebody who's competent between the net, knows his stuff and the goalkeeping basics, and 9 out of 10 times Rangers don't usually defend that much anyway. When they do, the goalkeeper has to make 1 or 2 saves, but his cost is quite big. Butland has it. If it's not coming out for balls, he done it in a week. Was it against a week?
I remember Hibs game of Bob went right at him and Stelling took off the line. I think that's
Alan said this. Meathoff for Aberdeen. I like Meathoff after saying he's decent.
I remember Meathoff was a game a couple of months ago when he sold the jersey against Motherwell and pammed the ball and the guy scored.
That's the thing. All keepers probably do it to a point. I mean, we laugh at Casper Schmeichel, but then you've got Jack Butland doing the same stuff. But all keepers do it to a point, and then goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's usually a goal. For striker, the midfielder makes a mistake, then you can maybe sometimes get back for that. But it's stuff like you shouldn't be doing. No inexperienced keeper like him.
No. So the second half comes in, and I don't want to get into that in a lot of detail. I think we huffed and puffed with, 70 odd 80% of possession. We were dominating the ball, but creating nothing. And if anything, Hearts were more likely catches on the break a few times. When we had a corner or a throw in or whatever it was, they were able to then break on us. And a couple of times they should have got through. Shankland probably should have scored with one of them, at least one of them.
Scored that. It was actually really unlucky. You can see what he was
trying to do. It was a clever, tried to be a clever finish. but we never really we flung on. I think 5 subs. As you say, Tav was a midfield at one centre midfield at one point. You had Chamiti come on. You basically flung everybody. I can't even remember all the players that come on. Danilo come on. A lot of them still come on. Were anonymous, but we never really looked like getting back into the game at all, despite the fact we were. Hearts were clever. They just sat back and let us come at them, and knew we didn't.
They didn't have to come to us, did they, Gary? They knew we've not got a lot of threat. They knew we waste a lot of opportunities. They knew we kind of make our own mistakes, and they thought, we'll sit here, we'll give the ball back in a couple of minutes and we'll hit them on the break because they're not getting any pace either. And they didn't have to be fancy, just had to sit and be patient and we give them the ball back. And that's quite easy. That's how easy it is.
And I suppose the last point in the game, because I don't want to spend too much more time talking about that, is we obviously do get a goal in the last kick of the ball. And I'm going to give him a bit of credit because it was a really good goal. Chamiti scored, to be fair to him. He used he had pace, he had physical strength, and it was actually a good finish. I'm not suggesting for a minute he's now going to turn into the player that cost £8 million. But credit, it was a good goal that he scored.
It was, it took it well, just a pity it was right at the final whistle. But this is where we should be getting more of him, Gary, because if you see him doing that, I know it was the end of the game, you can maybe say the Hearts players were switched off as well, but we need this for him because Miovski's a hit and miss because he struggles up front himself. Danilo's just poor. And then Chamiti's, I know he's got a big price tag, but he's probably the only one we've got who is physical.
He's got attributes. He's got attributes that could work. The problem is he doesn't let the score most of the time.
I still think it was the wrong signing for us at this time because we had the squad as at this moment in time. But out of our strikers, he probably only won many physicality, and that's what we're lacking.
And pace as well, to be honest, isn't it?
I've seen a wee bit of Gary. I've only seen a lot of his pace, but if he's got more of his game, then. But he has to keep playing, doesn't he? And that's him. He's changing and chopping his team quite a lot because I don't think he trusts any of his players. I don't, and it's not his fault because if I was a manager, I'd be the same. I'd be like, right, he was shite last week, so I'm bringing him in, but I know he's not great either, so I'll bring him to see if he improves for last week. If he doesn't, I'll go back to him because if you look at our depth, it's poor.
Do you know what I mean? Nobody's making a claim for the jersey anytime in it, so they bring on the subs every game, and none of them make a claim to then play. Then you bring on the start 11 like Miovski, they're picking him on Sunday. He's had a couple of good games, then he's really poor, so nobody's actually able to show any real you should be in the team before somebody else. I think Asgard came off the bench, actually looked decent enough when he came in playing the kind of number 10 behind the two strikers. But again, at no point in any game is he really shown enough to merit a starting jersey for the next game. And that's been the problem all season for all the players. None of them are really demonstrating that they deserve to be a certain starter or a starter.
They don't, and that's why, as you say, so many changes, and there's nobody taking a claim. There's nobody, and I know you can say they can do this in training, do that in training, and that's fine, but we don't see training. Managers do, we don't see that. Coaches do. We only see what they produce in the park when we pay to watch them, and it's been guff. And that's what we judge them on, and if we're not doing it on a Saturday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday or Thursday, wherever we're playing, then it's not good enough for us, and I think a lot of changes have to be made, but sadly it's not going to come in January. We'll get maybe 2 or 3, I think, but it's not going to be as many as we want because January's not the best month, Gary, to bring players in and out. And if Rohl goes, then that's best for all parties. I think he'll go back down to England and do actually reasonably well. He just wasn't cut out for the rigors of Scottish football. And if he can bring somebody else in who might be something different for this squad, then. But I think we need big changing someone, as in changing the whole leadership group for a kick-off and changing just. I know people keep mentioning the culture, but just changing everything about the club. There's so many players at that squad, Gary. If I asked you who would you keep, you probably still have fingers left in one hand who you would keep. Do you know what I mean? If you really wanted a rebuild, because there's no many people there, you would.
None of them merit being kept because they're not showing enough either this season or last season. Do you know, for those that were there last season either.
You know, the defenders, who would you keep?
Suter and Fernandez. Suter and Fernandez. And I'm not saying Suter's a first choice, but I think I'd keep him as part of the squad. Dav's legs are gone, as you said. You know, there's maybe a role in the squad potentially, but not as a starter. And Giga's terrible. Aaron's is terrible. McGomez, yeah.
So I would keep Sterling. If Sterling can keep fit.
Sterling, do you know what? He's been here 3 years and he's played 10 games or whatever. Do you know that's enough? If it was another player, we'd be saying, if it's Matondo or any other one, you'd be saying get rid of him. Do you know why Sterling's different?
I just think he brings someone who plays, but it's not been often enough, like you said. Fernandez, I wouldn't give certain a new deal. I know he will, but I wouldn't give certain a new deal.
Aye. No, I think it's a struggle. Do you know? I think the problem is we've said this many times before. Actually, last year, there's no connection with anybody really. You know, you watch any Rangers game, you watch the last couple of years, you go back to even watching some of the stuff with Gerrard's interview. The connection you have with some of the players, whether it be Mad Alfredo or whether it be Hadji, even, you know, who wasn't even that great, you know, or Leon Balogun was a pretty average defender, if you're being honest. But you had a connection with these guys, whereas the guys now, there's nothing. We go to games, Scott, and when I sit there and I think, do you know what? He's playing, he's not playing, who cares? So I don't really like him that much. It doesn't really bother me who's playing. They're all just.
No, I know. Aye. I mean, you see, when Morelos was there, love or hate him, but he was always entertaining at some point, and we did like. I did like Alfredo, I have to say, but no, there's not a lot of players here you would say if they leave, you look back and fondly remember them. There's not many, to be honest with you, if there is any. Maybe Taft to a point because how long he's been at the club, longevity-wise, but I do think he's probably stayed too long, and it's not due to his fault. Obviously, the club want to keep him.
I think I'm a big fan of Tav, you know, but you can't say somebody's played 550 games in 10 years and took to a European final and all this stuff. You can't say that it's not been a positive for 200, 300 grand. That'll be fine. When he'll go, he'll be remembered much more fondly than he is now. But the rest of them, there's a little connection with them. You know, they look at there's nobody that excites me. And they don't look excited. They don't even look like they want to be there. Most of them look like they're not particularly connected either. Do you know?
No, they don't.
I don't know, whoever it may be, do you know, and I'm trying to pick up John Lundstrom, right? Pick him. John Lundstrom wasn't a great player, but there was a connection with the fans at one time because you could see that he was given some of the stuff. As I say, Balogun, other ones. There's just none of them really that give you that. And I don't know why. I don't know whether it's to do with us. I don't know whether it's to do with the culture of the club. I don't know whether it's to do with the players we bought in. I think there's a whole combination of things that just make the club somewhat broken, which we thought wouldn't be the case when the American owners come in, but it doesn't seem to be fixing as quick as we'd have liked.
No, it's not. They've obviously the structure they've put in place hasn't worked whatsoever. And I know Smoke's seen his head up in a bit, Gerrard. To be fair, so am I, but I think we may have to touch on an interview slightly. But I do think the owners are trying to fix what they've done. But once you've kind of done the damage you've done, it's going to take more than a couple of transfer windows to fix that because it's still to get a director of football.
And for the American owners, it's not fixing the damage that's done this summer. It's fixing damage done for the last 3 years.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. There's been a lot of damage done before they even bought the club. But I mean, I heard Gerrard with Alan McCoy. I didn't watch it all. I just watched the Rangers part of it basically. But
so I'm going to ask you a point this, right? Because there's two arguments. One is, so I heard Stevie Clifford this morning give a shout on Four Lads, you know, on Rangers Review, saying Gerrard was only interested in not coming because it maybe damage his legacy, which I can actually understand. Why go to a job if you're not going to do well at it? Whereas Gerrard says, I'd love to come and help Rangers, but only when it worked for me, basically, only when the conditions were right. So the argument is that does Gerrard deserve criticism for saying he wouldn't come to help Rangers when it suited Rangers? Or is Gerrard right in saying that don't come, it's a shambles? And I suppose there's two ways you can look at the same thing. I suppose what I'm saying.
I think every manager wants everything to be kind of in place before they come through the door, don't they? And I think if Gerrard was any type of person, I think he must have known to a point
that must have known how well that we're going.
Well, we're not going to last.
Aye.
But I don't think it's so much him. I think it was players and everything else. I think he looked when he first came into Rangers, must have had a blank canvas, but the squad was slightly probably must have been better. But players you could look at and see I can make a player out of him or I could think me. But I think with this squad, there's not a lot there he could probably look at and say, like, I can hang my hat in him and him because. And I think he wanted to bring in a lot of his old guys. But I don't know, Gary. I just think if he wanted to come, he would have. To me, I don't think. And he said his legacy, but he's not really got a legacy apart from Rangers. Because at Aston Villa, they failed, and then Saudi. I mean, you could win 10 leagues or win no leagues, and people just say to you, so much you make. It's not like you make hundreds of money. It's not like you make winning trophies, you make hundreds of money. But I just feel. I don't think he wanted to come back at this precise moment in time, even though he went to speak to him.
See, to be fair, man, you know, the argument is...
to be fair, what we're saying, I'm kind of fed up with the Gerrard thing
That's what I
because
was about to say. I'm
we've
not
had a
interested.
lot of better managers than Gerrard, just not recently, but before he even, and people seem to go back to one guy at one trophy out of 9 or whatever.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
I agree.
Maybe just me looking on the other side of it, I just feel we need to start moving forward. I hate going back with players and managers. I want to start moving forward. I know we don't move forward well as a club, but it's like you're linked to, well, there's Sima available, there's Windass available. Stop looking that way. Start looking that way. I know, but looking that way doesn't look great. So we look back because it looks more comfortable and you've got a good, nice wee feeling because you're looking back. But I want to look that way.
Do you know what? I don't want to talk about Gerrard much in depth. Do you know, as you said, you know, he's not here. He done all right in his 3 years he was here. I thank him for the league title. But other than that, I don't have very strong feelings.
I like some of the football we played in that League Cup game against Celtic. When we were in the final, we get beat. Morelos missed a penalty, we lost. That was probably one of the best we've played under him very early on. You thought, I walked out that game out. Usually they beat you in the final, you're gutted, right? And you're raging. But I walked out that game that day saying, I can see something for this team which I'd maybe not seen previously. We're going to be up. It took a while after that, aye. But I'm thinking he's building something. You could see the progress he'd made. And I was quite not happy, but I was quite content what I was seeing.
And forgetting Gerrard himself, but I'm interested because I was thinking, because one of the things I was looking at today was we've got 29 points in 17 games, I think, if I dropped it mid. So if you extrapolate that, to use a big word, if you were to keep that going for the rest of the season, it's probably going to be our lowest points total since we returned to the top flight. I think last year probably was one of our lowest in 2017 and 78 points. Now, if it stands to reason at the moment, we'd be lucky to reach 70 points if we continue the same path as we've been. I suppose my question, 2 questions. One is 70 points, where does that get you? But secondly, do you think that the team that we had in 2018, firstly, June 2018, is a better squad of players than the one now?
Well, Gary, you're asking me to think back to 2018, man.
Right, so I'll tell you that, right? So McGregor, Tav, Goldson, Katic.
Right, so I'll stop you now. Aye, they were better. You've named a few defenders. Aye, they were better. I'm just fed up. I just want to go forward, Gary. But as a club, we're not doing it.
I'm picking that up. That's the start. That was the start of the journey, I suppose. That's what I was trying to say. I was picking up that was the start of 2018, and when we were actually just starting to build a team, and not the team that we then became.
I mean, I've always said to you, Gary, about managers, right? You can't keep sacking managers, but you can if not good enough, right? And I've always thought that way. And not everybody thinks differently. Nobody thinks the same, and that is great. That's why we've all got opinions, and if yours is different from mine, that's fine, because I don't want it to be the same as mine. We can all think things the same, even though we all love Rangers to bits. We all see it different.
And I can mute you. I said that's a benefit of being hosting the podcast.
I just feel Danny Rohl will produce the goods if he's given the time.
I suppose that's my point.
I don't see a lot bad in him. I can get the criticism. I can get people moaning. And like I said earlier, if he can bring in a few players and the game changes slightly and we start picking up points, then I'll be happy. But I don't think I think it was Ross that mentioned in the chat earlier, 5 games. When I said this time next year, he said maybe 5 games time. Why would you sack a manager you bring in who's not any players his own brought in?
Yeah.
Again, to bring in another manager, it's going to end up you're making the Rangers' job that poison challenge that people will at. So that will end up a bit like the Watford job at one point. Even I'm going to say Chelsea, but don't really. If you're going to Chelsea,
possibly the Tottenham job on its way, and it just keeps
I'm going to game at Chelsea for 5 games. You're a multi-millionaire. But do you know what way? I don't want this club to be like a poison challenge to folk, and I think if given time, he will turn it. He's a very experienced coach. He knows football really, really well. I just think we have to be patient because I'm fed up just criticising managers for the sake of it. And Russell Martin deserved it at a point because he brought it a lot to him himself. But I think Daniel is trying his hardest. But like I said, you can't say in a Saturday or a Wednesday whenever I go into other stuff or on social media, the squad of players we've got is all terrible. They're the worst footballers ever. And then criticise the managers as well. Because if they're the worst footballers you've seen, maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't think any manager worth their salt could probably get a tune out of that team.
Yeah, I'd like to think, Scott, people that are sensible, and that'll be those people that are watching and listening to the pod today and over the next few days. Danny Rohl comes across well. He speaks well. He's pleasant. He looks like he knows what he's doing, and there's nothing to suggest that he doesn't look like he's a good manager at the moment. That doesn't make you say, but at the same side, that doesn't make you say I can't watch a game at the weekend or maybe you can say I think he got it wrong. There's two different things. Both things aren't mutually exclusive.
No, I agree with you.
I think Danny Rohl should at least be the manager till the end of the season. We see how he gets on. But at the same time, I think we'll come on every pod and we'll say maybe he should have done this or substituted that guy or made that change or picked that formation. That's football. That's what he should be talking about. He's not going to be. You can't say that you're either against him or for him. Do you know, it can be a bit of both. You can be for him, but also be critical of decisions made in it, and that's part of the problem.
Maybe I'm just getting partly with Garrett because I've got some sympathy for him with the players he's got. Maybe that's why I'm looking at it. I mean, maybe if it was different players and he was doing the same stuff, I'd be saying, no, he's not good enough. I think it's just because the players he's got to work with. They're throwing him under the bus as much as well as himself, and especially the fans.
Yeah, and we're now a week away from the transfer window, so which takes us nicely onto some transfers. And you say, don't never bring people back, Scott. Never bring them back. And today we've been linked with 31-year-old Josh Windass on loan, who's currently at Wrexham, who has worked with Danny Rohl, obviously. And I think he said Danny Rohl's the best coach he's ever worked for over his time. So I believe, I don't know, sure, some of the comments seem to suggest it's been already kind of kicked into the grass. But Josh Windass, to me, I was going to say Dean there. Josh Windass, to me, would probably be a decent sign. He's experienced, he knows the league, knows the club, and he's, for what you gather, he's the last 5 or 6 years down in England, he's been a reasonably strong performer.
Listen, Windass is what Windass is. He's got ability, technically decent, but he plays in patches, he plays in spells, he always has, and would they have him back? Probably not, Gary, but like I said to you before I came in, if he's a loan signing to get rid of a loan signing we've got who's not making anything work, and if it's to bring in until the end of the season, and Danny, he's worked with Rohl before, he knows the club, he knows Scottish football, is he going to be better than the players we've got at this moment in time? Probably. Will he offer more than Asgard? Probably. Will he score goals? He probably will score more than some of the strikers I've got at this moment in time. So I don't think it will happen. I do think, I'm sure I watched Wrexham my week and he was playing, so unless maybe he's once away for the era, Parkinson, he's fell to full Parkinson, I don't know, but I wouldn't be against it, but I wouldn't be for it either. But if it's just a loan deal, then that'd be fine.
Aye, I would take him for the 6 months. I mean, he's a stopgap signing at best, and to maybe help. But there's a fair point, there's a few people putting in the comments. Gassamba's got worse since Rohl went, and he worked with him, so it's not necessarily when somebody's worked with managers.
Which I've always told you, Gary, I think when he's played with Sheffield Wednesday, it's a totally different type of football they're playing, because they were hitting on the break quite a lot of transition, because Wednesday used to sit quite deep, because up against teams who were better, especially when they first went in. Different when they got a wee bit of form under them belt, but they were sitting, and he usually was a man that was deeper forward and done a lot. He just gave him the ball and into space. Do you know what I mean? Because English football is slightly slower as well. But in Scotland it's different for him, because a lot of times there's no much space, and he dives up here. I don't know if he dived there in England, but he does man up and me just falling for no reason. Actually stand on your feet unless you actually get chopped.
Yeah, I think we've also been linked with a Belgian under-21 fullback or left back, I think, and as well as obviously you say Joe Rothwell's probably almost certainly on his way out as well. So I mean, we're going to have a whole month of talking about this come January of players coming and going. I think we all need at least 3 or 4 players probably.
Players getting linked, Gary. So these young guys, I don't mind them, but we do need experience, Broughton. Yeah. We do need a couple of experienced guys, even if it's just for 12, 18 months. We need experience, man.
Was the game against Hibs the youngest, the 22 average age of 22 for outfield players or something? It was really young. I can't remember.
We have a very young squad of players, Gary. We have, and I know really a lot of experience in them, especially one playing together, but 2 playing for Rangers, and sometimes that can go against you. So we need a couple of experienced guys there who I've seen it to a point and maybe played in Scotland. And I've mentioned Gogic to you before, Nicky, and listen, I'm not saying Gogic is the best player out there, but he plays with his heart, doesn't he? And if you can see a guy doing that in the park, then some might fall.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of players in the SPL who you can say there. Some Rangers fans will say, some probably fans of other clubs will say, "Nah, I don't want them at my club, I'm not good enough." But sometimes just bringing somebody in who gives a wee bit of lift, technically not be as good as you've got, but mentality-wise, physical-wise, and just turning up and giving 110%, you're saying to yourself, I need to do what he's doing because I'm looking as I'm a better footballer on paper, but he's shown me up every other way. So, and that's what Gogic does with St Mirren. I know he done it with Habs, he done it with Hamilton when he was there, and he'll probably tell you himself he's one of the most fundamentally, technically gifted footballer, but he does what he says. And he defends, he gets forward, and he's decent in there. Will we get him? Probably not, but I'm just saying somebody like that, just somebody who can defend, hit the ball and kick the ball and kick a few other people for opposition. We're too nice, Gary, as well. We're far too nice a football team. We don't have anybody with aggression. We don't have anybody pulling at other players. We don't have anybody. I mean, Cammy Devlin was on Sunday against Rangers. He was smiling, he was golden. I'm walking away. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know it's what happens. It happens during a match. I've seen it before. I've seen it at the youth level, but sometimes you've got somebody to stand up and say, that's fine, you're not doing this to my team, and we don't have anybody like that. We do not have anybody like that. We're all too nice.
Aye, and I don't want to get into this, but I suppose that's quite frightening. You've got a Scotland international in Barron and a Belgian international in Raskin that are able to let Cammy Devlin do that to them. But that's a different story for another day, maybe. From there, see, in terms of the game, we play Motherwell on Saturday. Is that right? On Saturday, yep. I've lost my days. And Motherwell sitting third. Motherwell, the most entertaining team in Scottish football, apparently. You know, they're the ones that everybody raves about. Again, probably like you, Scott. I don't watch any other teams. I'd be lying if I said I know what these other teams are like and how good Gogic is or how good any of the Mashwiniski or whatever his name is at Motherwell. I see snippets and the stuff on the TV, but certainly till now, Motherwell have been playing the form football, the passing out for the back, the stuff they've done against us in the first day of the season, except they've progressed it and get better at it, apparently. And they're in a good run of form. So it could be an extremely tough game, but also maybe a chance to have an entertaining game. And I suppose if we're looking at previewing it, one of the things I don't want to see is us to go defensively against Motherwell's attacking style.
No, we can't, Gary. We can't, because Motherwell will come to Ibrox and think they can win. Because everybody's coming to Ibrox now and thinks they can win, because Rangers don't have any fear for any team, no matter who it is. And he's been doing really well there. I can't remember the manager's name. They've been doing really well since he's went in, and they've got a structure they play, they've got a shape, but they've all know their jobs, Gary. Just like a bit like McInnes at Hearts, all the players know their jobs and they all back each other up. And they're not scared to play football when they have to, but they can mix it up as well.
Yeah.
But like I said,
things like that.
And they all know each other in the park. They all, if somebody gets beat, somebody else is there. It's totally different for a Rangers side. And like I say, you could probably coach the Rangers players 5 days a week, and then come a game time, someone will probably know what to do what you've told them, because that's just the way these players are. But other teams, these guys have came from leagues or different places, or leagues are other countries, or leagues England, whatever, and they've come up to Scotland somewhere a point to prove. Maybe that's sometimes a better players to buy. You've got signing guys who've got a point to prove instead of guys who think they've already made it. Do you know that way? Like Aaron's been about the block and thinking, I'm coming up here big cheese, signing somebody you don't know, signing somebody nobody's really heard of, and I'm going to have to come up here and say, like, if I want to go elsewhere, I need to prove to everybody I'm a good player. And I think that's what teams like Motherwell, Hearts, have done. There's signing guys that nobody's heard of, but they're coming into the squads and playing really well. But it goes back to the way they're set up, and I think, yeah, you can maybe criticise Danny Rohl a bit for that, but I also do think Danny Rohl's bangs head against a bit all times, Gary, because he's changed the formation, he's changed the team, he's changed the way we play at times, and he's still getting the same face. The players, doesn't matter who it is, they're still giving the same kind of stuff. They play good in spells, or they play good when they're confident, but see, as soon as they get any adversity and it happens in the game, they hide. They go back into their wee shells, and then they step back, and you see them going a few yards deeper, and the other team just come on to them. You're thinking, we're going to concede here. It's a mentality thing, like what I mentioned before. Physicality we've not got a lot of, and so Motherwell's going to come and expect not to lose, put that way. They'll come to get something, and I don't blame them, because they're playing really, really good football.
So, I mean, and to be fair to Danny Rohl, just to pick up, what was it, 8 games we were unbeaten, 7 games that came out, 7 league games run. So we'd won 5 and drew 2, or won 6 and drew 2, I can't remember off the top of my head. So it's not as if we've been struggling badly against teams. The football's not been great.
People were criticising bigger teams they'd placed, right? It's teams they'd faced, right? But it's the same teams everybody else is facing.
Aye, that's it's a lot of nonsense with that. You can always pick up that argument, you know, or you catch them in a bad form, or you do other things to go with it. So if you beat Motherwell, that's who's been the form team over the last couple of months. That means it's because they've not played well. You know, you can spin any argument and stuff. But I suppose the interesting thing to me is you know, usually we've not got a lot of depth in the squad at the moment, a lot of injuries, a lot of players out. But in terms of formation, in terms of players you would pick, what would you be looking at then? Thanks, Alexander, for putting that 6-2. I can remember it was 5-2, 1-6.
I don't know, guys. I don't know what's wrong with Lyle Cam at the moment. I've heard he's still having recurring injury problems. These are dated back to Dundee by all accounts. Listen, I could be wrong. I've heard that for a few people. I've heard that for a few Dundee
fans. Let's say he was injured again, though, didn't I? Let's say he was injured during the week.
I've heard that for Dundee fans as well, who said last season, even the year before, he was in and out quite regular. With the same calf strain. So I don't know if that's, but I've heard he's had other issues, but I don't know if this is a concern. I mean, you would think when you buy somebody, or they maybe shown up in the medical. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but he's on the bench and he's away injured, and he's on the bench and he's off injured, and he's on the bench and he's not really had any game time.
There's not any game time.
And he's the type of guy, I'm not saying he's going to make us a world beater, but I think what we're offering just now for midfielders, why he's not been given a chance, because apart from Connor Barron, and Marami's actually done all right since he's come back in, but Rio and Dio and Raskin have been poor. Why doesn't Cam? They are struggling badly. Yeah, maybe a week or two, a couple of weeks on the bench. But if it was fit, you would imagine they get a chance with they two being playing poor, with Asgard playing poor. So I don't know if injuries are going to end up being a big worry for us, because he joined in pre-season and then last January, but he came pre-season, then he's not really kicked the ball for us, has he?
He missed the start of pre-season, didn't he? Then he back for a few games with Russell Martin, and it's been back and forward.
I know. I don't know, just somebody told me, listen, I could be well off the mark and I might be training fine, but I was just told it's a recurring thing he keeps getting, so I don't know what it is.
So, of the players that are available, so there's no John Souttar's maybe back next week. There's no other changes. Bayrami's maybe edging towards fitness. I think he again probably won't be ready for the weekend.
He says Souttar might be for some one game, but definitely Celtic, didn't he?
I think he said hopefully for some one game, and Bayrami wasn't far off as well. But looking at the players that we do have, then, so what would you be looking at doing? Give us your team.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think I would probably go with Sterling at right back, Mahoman at left, and Ciala and Fernandes.
And Ciala, you'll get that battered off that the big striker, you know.
Just change up. I'm just trying to change up again, Gary, because I think we'll have to do something. I'm going to go on 4 crosses. I'll go with Gassama on the left. I would see. I like Finlay Curtis, but I think he needs game time. But I don't know if Saturday's a game to start him. I'll go with Curtis, Raskin, Barron, and Gassama on the right.
Yeah.
And up front, I'll go with Shermity and Mike Camille. Just bind them.
Right, let's see what I go with then. Oh, keep putting up there. I will go with Butland in goals, Tav at right back, Fernandes and Sterling and Magoma. So 4 at the back. Middle of the park, I go with Barron and Raskin, with the 3 in front, Gassama, Asgard, Moore, and Chermiti up front. I think Asgard, again, I keep hoping one day he'll turn good, but that's why. But I don't see it, but I think he's probably.
I was hoping that as well, Gary, because I seen him for a long, long time before they came to Rangers. I watched him because a few times live, and I watched him quite a lot on TV, and I always thought there's a player there. That boy's technically very good, and then it's like he's coming to Rangers, and it's like I don't recognise the same guy.
But I think on the basis, Diamande, Danilo, whoever's playing that kind of back bit behind him anyway, I've not done it, and I'd give him a chance again.
I could totally agree with you.
So it's that again. It's not because the guy deserves a chance because the other ones are not doing enough to keep their place. You maybe bring them back in. So
I remember watching Asgard for Wigan. He was playing Huddersfield at the time, and that's when I was working with Huddersfield, and he was superb.
He's obviously got something. You're not playing for Norway if you don't have a level of ability and playing. But
that was in the. I can't remember, was that League One? No, it was Championship, I think, and superb that day. But then it's like he's come up here, and he's physically quite a big bloke, and he's got a good build.
He's got a good touch.
But he's as soft as anything.
4-2-3-1. I went with Gassama, Asgard, and Moore with Jamie up front. So Raskin and Bar in the middle. 4-2-3-1. All right. Moore was maybe the one that missed there. No, Asgard, he's got all the attributes in it. That's the problem. You watch him, you think you've got touch, you've got strength, you've got long hair. You've got all the stuff that he should be a good player, but for some reason it's just no.
But then you see him come on the park, and it's like, nah, I don't want this.
But then Joe Rebo was the same, was he not? Remember, so what somebody said earlier on, right, about how we are so quick to judge managers. Gerrard get 3 years, for example, that whole story. But we're very quick to judge players as well. Now, Joe Rebo was pretty average the first season. He done nice things. But the problem is with enough players running about him, we could compensate for that, whereas now we don't.
I think midfielders running about him, Gary, that was a thing. They could help him through games and could talk him through games. We've not got that at Rangers.
So they're all flying at the same time.
I think you had Jack, you had Davis, who maybe if they think that boy's head's been done, lift him back up. Whereas if it happens there, who's going to talk to him at Rangers now? Who's actually a lead that's going to talk to him?
But then most people wanted Raskin as captain 2 months ago, do you know? And
I think Raskin might concentrate on his own game before he concentrates on anybody else's. But I'm just talking about in general. And that team before, you had a few players that would talk. You had
Jack, guys like Balogun,
Davis, you had Balogun, Golson. You even had Lundstrom at times, talking about people, and then you had Morelos winding you up, so that would enough to get you back up. But I'm talking about who at this Rangers team at the moment, it's not playing well, is going and concentrating on somebody else's game before theirs, because they're basically all been dog shit.
I think that's a fair point. I was thinking that if you think so, we talk about the Rangers team then, right? And we don't like back in the past too much, but Ryan Kent strikes me as somebody that was quite shy, introverted, struggled to adapt at first, but having those leaders run about him, those guys as you said, all the way through, whether it be Golson, all these other ones that were there, actually helped him bring him out of shell, because he was another one that struggled a lot, but very, very much introverted, and maybe the problem is as much we don't have that at the moment. That's really what we've talked many times.
When we get fair players like that, Ryan Kent get a lot of criticism at the end, and maybe some of it justified, but Ryan Kent was a tremendous footballer.
But also, he was young and he was inexperienced, but he had players run about him to help build him, take him through the games. And that's the problem. We've got a squad of 22-year-olds.
Before he came to us, he was played a season at Barnsley, and then he left Liverpool and we signed him. So he was actually on a good, a wee bit of high coming to us, could just win play the season. I know it's at Barnsley, but he still won play the season somewhere. Whereas, I don't know if some of these players are coming for teams who wanted them in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Which we will cover probably the next couple of weeks is the transfer window, because I think for me and you and everybody who ever listens to this is you need 2 or 3 players of strength and leadership and experience to help maybe take the rest through. I think that's the challenge. That's where we're at. If we buy 3 21-year-olds, we're just going to struggle as much as we have now. If we bring some sort of experience that might help develop some of the ones that are around the bounds, we might actually see them playing beyond average as they have up to now.
I agree with you. I think you need to bring in experience. Listen, I don't mind bringing in the younger guys because that's where they want to go. But you can't have a team of young guys because they're just going to fail, because as soon as they hit a bad patch or their heads go down, you're not getting experience to pick it back up. And playing with Rangers is a totally different experience of playing with really most other teams, because you know yourself, you make a bad pass or a bad touch after the first couple of minutes, you're getting criticised at some quarters at the stadium. So I think we need to bring in experience. And I'm not saying you have to be the Rangers players, have to be Scottish, it could be anybody, but I mean, Kenny McLean's always been mentioned. Kenny McLean would have been a great signing, but it's just
that type of player. Is that type of player? It's not him necessarily.
It's just somebody who just knows how to organise, somebody who can slow the game down or speed it up, and somebody who. No, we need somebody in the park, Gary, who the players respect as well. The players can look and say, like, look at what he's done, or Walk on the bar with a bit of authority. Now you've had players in the past, Barry Ferguson done it right, Ian Ferguson, McCall. They all walked about your golf. They walked onto a football park, your teammates.
Yeah.
Right, he's in my team, we've got a chance today. And if he's fighting, so am I. But you walk onto a Rangers team and you say, and Sean has mentioned that they're all individuals. It's like they're fighting for themselves, they're not fighting for the team.
Aye.
Because they don't know maybe know how to do that, or they don't know who, they've nobody to follow. And when your captain's James Tavernier, who's had probably better players than he's had just now playing next to him, who he maybe followed as well at a point, even though the captain's Iron Man, he might have followed Davis, Jack, Golson, because they were the more vocal ones compared to Tav, and now he's got the. And I'll be looking at him at this moment in time, and Tav can't do what he's done in the past. So he's letting himself down. When he's letting himself down, he's not one of these people to go, right, I'm Pish, but you need to pick up your games. I don't think that's his character. Do you know what I mean?
No. So we are coming into the show. I'm seeing people are starting to draw Alan's away. So Merry Christmas, Mr. People. They've all got things, presents to wrap up, etc. Scoreline prediction, Scotland for Saturday.
That's a tough one, Gary, because I think Motherwell will get something, but I don't want to say that. I don't want to jinx it. So I'm going to go 2-1. I think we'll sneak it 2-1. Hopefully we sneak it 2-1. I'm going to go with, I think Schmidt will score again.
Yeah. I'll go 3-1 to Rangers, and again, I think Schmidt will probably score as well. And presumably everybody put a bet on Fernandez because he likes to score.
Fernandez
more than likes to defend.
I mean, I know I said to you when he keeps Suter, but if Suter was fit, I know you put him next to Fernandez because he'll be open through the game.
Aye. No, I wouldn't disagree. So we have came to the end of the podcast. I think it makes sense to finish now. It's almost Christmas Eve. We will be back, I think, probably on Monday because I think there's a game Saturday. We'll probably manage to do Monday, Friday next week, depending on
Monday, Friday.
What's happening. And for everybody that's watching, everybody that contributed in the comments, please like, share, and subscribe. We hope from everybody, not another Rangers podcast, we hope you have a nice Christmas and you get to spend time with loved ones, the people that matter. And until next week, until Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever day is that, 27th, until Monday the 27th, have a great time. Enjoy your time with your family. Scott, and same to yourself.
Same to yourself, Gary. And I'd like to say everybody that's watching us and who has watched us, have a nice Christmas when it comes and take care, everybody. You as well, Gary.
Thank you. I'll speak to you soon. Right, take care now. Bye now.